What's up, fandom? I'm Josh, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. We have Greg Franklin in the house.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh,
This is
no
awesome.
problem at all. Thanks for coming on. And we're going to be talking about the new stand-up comedy special, first of its kind, animated stand-up
That's right.
comedy special, Tig Notaro Drawn.
That's right. First of its kind. I mean, there's been a lot of stand-up comedy animation, sort of mashups throughout the years. But as far as I can tell, and I've done some research on this, there hasn't been one that is fully animated. Sometimes there's been some specials where, it's on a stage and they'll cut to a couple, short clips here and there. But you really have to give credit to Tig Notaro for having the vision to do something that had not even one frame of live action in it. So first of its kind.
Yeah,
Pretty
it
exciting.
was. I was very shocked because I mean, like, yeah, we've seen, stuff like there'll be like YouTube clips or something like a Comedy Central will have, like taken like a little bit of a stand up and like, but only animated like a minute or 2 minutes of it.
Sure. Well, animation is expensive, and I get the why that this hasn't, happened before. But and I've done a few of those 3 minute, stand-up comedy clips for YouTube, and I really think it's like a pretty cool thing. And I used to be of the impression, before we started, we're talking a little bit about YouTube time limits. But 3 minutes was about as much as I thought anybody could take, of this rapid fire, barrage of jokes and images, and so it was kind of a new thing for me to think of, because I'm a huge fan of, not only cartooning, but of stand-up comedy itself. And I've always loved, stand-up specials going back to when I was a kid with George Carlin and all these things that they used to show on HBO back in the day. And, I had to start to think of this one as the difference between a comedian doing like a tight 5 on a late night TV versus doing a whole hour, and what the difference is that means for pace, for, how much the audience can stand watching it, at a certain time. And we're also, one thing that was really great about it is we do multiple different styles throughout the special. So there's kind of an overall style, but every time she goes into a new bit, we go to something different. And I think that helps a lot. And, even going back to, when we were watching this, the animatics, I would be, nervous about how this thing is playing and the pace. And it's like so long, being like, 55 minutes. And you would get to a point where it's like, okay, I know this part's fine. This part's good. We worked on it. The pace is great. And then every transition, I would have a heart attack. And it's like, okay, now we're good again.
Oh man.
So it's very different, and obviously, there's no real benchmark, for this thing. So, there's nothing to really kind of compare it to.
Yeah. Well, you guys are the benchmark now. So you are the
there
whole
we go.
bench.
Thank you.
Congrats. So Greg, for this special, you are the director and executive producer for it, and you're also the creative director for the animation studio 6 Point Harness.
Yes, 6 Point Harness is coming into its 18th year. We started it right after the .com bubble burst, and we all met working on. There's this sliver of time right around the turn of the century where websites were going under, but they had made so much short content that they felt like if we just make a really long web video, we can make a feature film.
Yeah.
And I had the great fortune to work on 2 of those films. And they're both really, they're really bad. They're like the worst animated films that have ever been made. And sadly, but the great part is that I met all my compatriots at 6 Point Harness, and we kind of realized that we had a winning formula for making cartoons on our computers with Flash, just like tricking the web software to make broadcast quality stuff. And so we kind of stuck together and got some jobs. Our first job was the opening titles to the film Eurotrip. So going
fantastic
back,
movie,
quite a a real classic. I think people are going to look back at that time period and go like, what a golden age of entertainment the early 2000s was.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to pull out my Blu-ray copy of Eurotrip and just watch the opening sequence again.
Well, yeah, it's a good place to watch and stop. That's like all fine.
Well, I mean, we have to stop after probably the best cameo in any movie ever with
Fred
Matt
Armisen.
Damon.
Oh,
I mean, Matt Damon as as just random singer. It's like that. I mean, that's probably one of the best cameos.
Now I need to watch it again because I'd completely forgotten about Matt Damon being in that film.
And see, here's the thing. You forgot about him now. You'll watch it. You'll never forget that Matt Damon was in Eurotrip ever.
Thank God.
Yeah, and 6 Point Harness, like they've been like we had Henry Bonzu from Laser Wolf on. Super cool guy. Love
He's great.
Laser Wolf. But you guys have done a bunch of stuff. Like you did the animation for Hair Love, which is the Emmy Award winning short film.
Oscar winning.
Oscar. Is it Oscar Emmy? Is that the same thing? I don't know.
It's that was a crazy surreal moment to hear 6 Point Harness being mentioned on the Oscar stage, and for that project that we all really believed in, and was a very quick turnaround, hairy production, pardon the pun, what an amazing gift, to be blessed with that award. So amazing. And we had a fantastic, kind of rap party with Sony afterwards, and getting to hold a real Oscar is something that that's something I won't forget. Maybe Matt Damon, but not that.
Man. And then you guys also did the anime, like the 2D animation bits for probably my favorite, and I think honestly the best 30 for 30. You guys did the animation for the Nature Boy.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. We love doing the documentary work. There more and more documentaries use animation these days, but to use it on such an amazing subject, probably. And I'm a huge wrestling fan as well.
Oh, definitely, dude. You need to come back on once we're done with this. Come back on. We need to do a wrestling show. We need to do a wrestling podcast.
Be careful what you wish for, because I can go off. I have a lot of wrestling stories.
Here's the thing. Like, I've been looking for people to do one with, because I'm like, man, I want to do like a couple episodes about wrestling, like kind of like all through like the WCWs and the WWEs, and going into like, all
ECW.
ECW, go turning us into AEW, where we're at right now, and like TNA and New Japan and all that good stuff. Yeah, man.
I'm available. Let me know. That'll be fun.
And more recently, you guys are doing How to Become a Tyrant just came out on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's another documentary series, very dark and different subject matter. And one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves at 6 Point about is really kind of making a custom suit. When we get a client project like that, we try to like, we have such a great staff, everybody that, all of our artists, our animators, character designers, background, everybody's got, their own, they're very versatile, but how everybody has their thing, that's their thing, and so we really, try to make like create opportunity for people to really indulge in the thing that they love the most. And that's how you get the best results, from that's how you get the best product, is by letting people really give themselves to the project and really, um, own their work, and when it comes to, we have some eggheads that are good at the Cosmos, working on Cosmos or working on How to Be a Tyrant. We have a lot of goofballs, that are great at working at comedy. And, then there's, your anime freaks and your, all kinds of different things that people are really passionate about. So that's kind of the secret. Like, we don't have a house style, you're not going to kind of come to us for something that exists already. And the other thing too is, like, if you give a project to somebody that has, a different sensibility, you can come up with something completely new. And that's really exciting, is when everything aligns and we get like a new take on some other style, because probably, 2 or 3 times a year we get somebody who says, like, we want it to look like G.I. Joe. And we're like, okay, another one of those, and it's all good. Scooby-Doo is another one, and it's all fun, it's all fun and good stuff. But when we get a new take on G.I. Joe, or we get a new take on Scooby-Doo, that's when it gets really interesting and a lot more fun.
That's when it's like, I want Scooby-Doo, but I want it in anime. And you're like,
yes.
All right, that's different.
There you go. You got your chocolate and my peanut butter, and now we have a great new taste that goes great together, so.
Okay, so let's talk about the special. So Tig Notaro,
Sure.
John, how did you guys get approached at 6 Point? Like, how did that kind of come around? Like what kind of brought along this idea that we're going to do the fully animated special?
I actually have, I met Tig probably 10 years ago, because I had done a few of these, shorter stand-up comedy bits. I had done one for...
Real quick question. Were you driving in a car and listening to Two Doors Down? Like, the entire... Was that you? Are you the comedian?
No, I am not the comedian. I had done... and I encourage any of the listeners to check out Kyle Kinane's Bunnies, which is the first one I did, which was really fun stand-up bit. That was the first one that I had done. And, kind of delving into it, I kind of developed my own kind of set of criteria and rules for these things, and I was kind of got my own theories about what makes stand-up comedy and animation work at its together at its best. And, I had done one for Jackie Cation, Wyatt Cenac, Mike Kaplan. Believe it or not, I did Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld and Louis C.K., which was on our reel and then quickly off our reel in around 2017.
Yeah, don't know why. I mean, just
But it happens, and so when I had talked to Tig about doing one years ago, and for different reasons, scheduling and whatnot, it just didn't come to pass. And when we had this meeting on the books, and I noticed with Tig Notaro, in 2019, I was like, oh man, I wonder if she remembers. And we we got into the meeting. She shook my hand. I have glasses now. She's like, didn't remember me. And so when we started talking about the special, I was like, this is really interesting. It sounds like a really cool thing. I started to talk about how I had done some of these videos in the past. And she looked at her team, and she had a whole team with her. And she looked at her team and she's like, wait, what's your last name? I said, Franklin. And she's like, this is the guy I was talking about. And I was like, oh man, well, thanks. And she and I just kind of locked eyes, and she started asking me questions about, like, how is this going to work? And I think it was pretty much ours to lose after that point. So I went back to my desk afterwards, and I created the deck of a lifetime and just made sure that we got this job. And I thought about a lot of things, putting it together, like what are the different bits, what style goes best with each bit, but also really importantly, making sure that each style that we cut to has like nothing to do with the last style that we just saw.
Yeah.
So everything is always constantly ping-ponging you around and always surprising you and always full of like different,
the multiple
looks.
styles, was that something that Tig wanted, like Tig and her team wanted in the special, or is that something that you came up with?
It was there from the beginning, as there were certain things that were built in, like the structure was kind of already there. Thomas Elite, one of the EPs, had actually curated the special from about 40 plus hours of different different tapes that were created over a longer period of time. And so we had a lot of flexibility with kind of crafting like the perfect version of every bit, because a lot of them were, she was it was a little looser, she was kind of trying to find in a normal world, Tig would, create all these tapes and then listen to them all and craft the perfect wording to go and do a special.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen with these. Like we had the raw materials to craft it, but we didn't have, there would be times when Tig would say like, can we change that word to this? And it's like, well, it's just the tape we have, and so we would sometimes, create some pickups here and there. But like pretty much like what you hear is her, and it's her direct mic, like, and the audience that you hear is all picked up from the one mic, and it's just like an off the soundboard recording. So normally when you do a stand-up comedy special, the audience is mic'd and you have a clean track of just the comedian's delivery. And so you have all this possibility with mix. But with this special, it was a lot more like it was almost like using found audio, to kind of craft what you get. And I think in the end, like it wasn't the easiest way to put together a show, and especially during the pandemic, which is kind of an interesting thing. I've had a few people talk to me about how, oh, this is a great pandemic way to do a stand-up comedy special. But this special was greenlit before the pandemic, and very, like it wasn't soon after. Like once we got picked up by HBO, I think a week later, everybody went under lockdown, and so I was sitting there going like, well, how are we going to make this? And our team at 6 Point was amazing. It took like 2 or 3 days, but everybody got set up at home with their work computers, and the different kinds of shared drives and things, and it all worked out remarkably smoothly if you think about it. It's a very different way to work.
Oh yeah.
But then at the same time, it kind of opened up different possibilities, because it's no different as far as the workflow, the pipeline goes, to work with an artist in LA than it is to work with an artist in India, or in Nepal or Australia. And we actually had teams all over the world contributing to this. Over 150 artists contributed to this special, all over the world, which was insane. And it kind of just snowballed, into this huge production. Yeah.
Nice. Are there any plans for more? Are you allowed to talk about that? Probably not. Probably not. It was one of those. It was a question that I wrote down on my thing here, and I was like, "We'll ask it. You never know."
Let me put it this way: I would love to do another, and I would love to do. There's comedians that I've always wanted to work with that I would love to do another one with. I don't know if this is going to be the catalyst to start off more long specials. I don't know if it's, it all depends on how well it does, like how successful the show is when it premieres on July 24th on HBO and streaming on HBO Max.
Look at you plugging away, man. I have like, dude, like I've got a whole thing down here, and you're like, I'm just gonna go ahead and plug it.
Whenever I see an opening, I'm just gonna plug it. So yeah, it's it all depends. And so, I would love to do another. There's like, who knows, like what more ideas, could be created with this format. It's again, like there are things where if I woke up tomorrow morning and it was a year ago, like there are certain things, because I know how it all played out, that I would do differently, and just mainly for efficiency's sake. But also, like, I wonder, like, oh, like there's so many new techniques and new softwares, and we did claymation and CG and 2D animation and hybrid stuff, and it's like I'm sitting there going like, we didn't do sand animation, damn.
Oh,
the claymation, though, was super cool, done by our other creative director, the great Muse Brooker, who has an extensive background in stop motion. And I asked him, like, can we do like 10 seconds of clay, like clay, like real clay? And he's like, yeah, sure. And it turned out amazing, and it really gave me like this insane nostalgic tinge, like oh man, Pee-wee's Playhouse, and the Sledgehammer video by Peter Gabriel, and oh my god, it's amazing. And I haven't seen them yet in person, but we have real clay statues that are there.
Yeah, those need to be in like at the 6-point harness
in the lobby.
In the lobby, yeah, you got to put those there. All right, so we have a lot of bits in this. I mean, you've got the Kool-Aid, the Wisdom Tea.
Sure.
That was good. The whole Jenny Slate saga.
Yes.
That was great. Like the Spider story, the Van Halen being cool, Dolly Parton. Which of those was your favorite bits?
Wow, that's a crazy question.
We'll do this.
Rank them in order.
I'm gonna turn this into 2 questions. So, okay. Which was your favorite like comedy bit, and which was your favorite bit of animation?
Well, I have to say that the true answer is that it kind of varied from day to day. Okay. When I was working on the piece, there would be certain parts where I was like, this is okay, this is coming together, it's fine. And they weren't exactly my favorite. That would somehow, during the state of production, the amazing artistry would come, everything would kind of align, and that would leapfrog, some of my favorite bits that had been, kind of going throughout the whole thing. And, I'm a huge fan of Eddie Van Halen. So that was always like one of my, favorite bits, just because of the guy.
Yeah.
And to have him pass right in the middle of production while we're animating him was a thing, like that definitely was, you're working all night, you get up, you have a pot of coffee, you're watching the morning news, and they're showing Eddie Van Halen has passed, and they show this footage of him like teaching kids at this, this poor school, in South Central, and he's showing the kids how he goes, and he's giving them advice and stuff, and I've got this, lump in my throat, and I'm just like, oh my god. So yeah, like, and we had to get some, keep this a little bit spoiler free if I can, but we had to get some guitar in there, and
yeah,
I was kind of I'm very inspired by Eddie Van Halen, and I thought with this pandemic, I'm like, I'm finally going to learn it, I'm gonna learn it, and so I got my guitar and stuff, and I was like watching YouTube videos, and I happened upon this amazing guitarist who's in Tulsa named Joshua Jones, and I thought that if anybody can do it, this guy can do it, and he's kind of an up and comer, absolutely brilliant. If anyone wants to type in Joshua Jones guitar after they watch this, I would highly encourage them to do so. He is a total genius, and it all worked out, with having him provide some amazing guitar sound effects for this thing. So that one was a favorite because of all of that stuff. I love, of course, the wisdom teeth bit. I love the style of that. We were kind of inspired by, the classic illustrators of the day, like Bob Peak and Robert McGinnis, and old James Bond movie posters and pulp, dime novels and things like that, which kind of worked into the theme of the story, which is kind of beautiful people are going to let you down.
Yeah.
Which is, try not to be a spoiler in that, but that was kind of the theme. Is like sometimes beautiful people can be vapid, and so we wanted to show them as beautiful as possible. Another thing is, I knew we were going to have to deal with like a realistic style of some kind. It's just kind of a no-brainer, and people are going to want to see how you do that. And rather than do something that's kind of straight up realistic, we wanted to do it with style. So that's why we were really looking at that kind of textured, look from those great artists. And so that one was a favorite too. One that kind of leapfrogged everything was the motorcycles bit, which
yeah.
It was kind of like it kind of was so easy to produce. We worked with a great studio out of New York, Lowbrow, to create that, and it was just so painless that once it all came together, I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is kind of leapfrogged to the top of the line a little bit. This is like so cute and funny. All of it is, it all comes from Tig. Like, we couldn't make any of this without her amazing, attitude and her personality, and the really dry, wit that she has, that can seem, it can seem a little bit like a little bit kind of surreal and kind of with a real deadpan, edge to it. But there's this warmth underneath everything. There's this incredible like empathy and warmth through all of her comedy that makes that takes the edge off that kind of harsh exterior, the harsh kind of and again, like I said, she was kind of messing around on stage for a lot of this stuff, like this. There's an amazing thing. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Tig Notaro live, but there's
Not live,
an amazing.
No, I've only ever seen like the specials and stuff. So
yeah,
which I mean, obviously cuts out so much, but
there's a thing that you could really get from hearing the raw tapes, which is she's not afraid of silence, right? She will let the audience stew for an uncomfortably long amount of time, and the tension, you just feel it, and then she'll just take the edge off with this perfectly timed, perfectly worded, zinger, and the place just erupts. And that's just not something that we can access in the animated world. It's just, somebody watching it on their couch with cartoon visuals, it's just not the same. So we were trying to like just really maintain her body language rhythms, her expressions, her delivery, everything about her. We were studying to the nth degree, and I think we pulled it off. But it's just a really interesting thing to think about, like this kind of new product that you're making that you can't have, one without the other. I think you could listen to a stand-up comedy record and be totally fine. You kind of fill in the visuals of the comedian with your mind, but this is like it's just like a whole new thing, a whole new genre.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I like about this, because I mean, it does feel like something brand new, mainly because it is, because you have like your standard animation whenever Tig's on stage. And then whenever we have a different bit, we cut to whatever it is. And it's seamless too. It's like whenever we go there, it's like boom, 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 boom. And like that was something that I really appreciated, because I was like, oh man, this looks really good. And then you get callbacks later on, like, person trying on their laugh for the first time, that kind of tickles in throughout, a couple of the other bits. And I'm like, it's just so well done that I was thoroughly impressed with it. Like, I like Tig's stand-up specials. I think she's great. And I just love watching like comedy stuff like all the time. And to be able to watch this and be like, yeah, this was good. Like I finished, I watched it again last night, and like, cause like the first time, like I kind of had it on in the, like I was doing stuff while I was doing it. So I wasn't giving it my undivided. So last night I watched it full. And I called my friend up and I was like, Charlie, you got to watch this. This is like, it's so good. Like it's just perfect. So yeah, awesome. And she's going to watch it. So, I mean, it's a good thing. So, which is great, because she doesn't have that long to wait, because it comes out July 24th on HBO Max. Right. So streaming, so you can check that out.
And, not to backtrack, but I do want to, you touched on the new laugh bit, and the audience, when she's giving voice to the audience, that was a whole new thing for me too, because it's really interesting when she's kind of has a little interplay with an audience member, and she's saying, this guy's like blah blah blah, and then we're cutting to the guy and he's saying what she's saying. She's putting words in his mouth basically. And it was just kind of an interesting thing to kind of wrap your head around, where she's got somebody in the audience who's like, he's like blah 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 blah, and she's like blah 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 blah, and you're seeing them say it. It was a whole nother part of the show in a way, because I don't know, I just really enjoyed that, and I thought it was kind of an underrated part of the show, the audience members.
I mean, yeah, because like and like even when we do like the Kool-Aid band skit, like when that's going on too, it's like even then there's audience members that you can actually hear. But we don't zoom in on them. They're like silhouetted. And I'm like, that's perfect. Because like, you don't need to hear them. I mean, you don't need to see them. Like, so whenever like an audience member is talking, it's Tig. But you can see the audience members like as silhouettes doing like the talking and everything. But you don't actually zoom in on those. I thought it was very well done. I was like, that's good. I like that. It's nice little touches like that. Oh man, Greg, this was fun. Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh man, thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure to talk about this, and I'm not working on it anymore, so I feel like really itchy, and I don't know what to do with myself. And it's kind of like if the coyote caught the roadrunner, like why would he get up in the morning? And so doing this stuff is putting the fuel in my tank. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. And a big thank you to 6 Point Harness and HBO Max for letting us check out the special early. Big thanks, guys. And yeah, again, Tig Notaro drawn, HBO Max, July 24th at 10 p.m.
Yes.
Which is weird that it's a like you can watch it at this certain time. Like it's not one of those like you want to watch it during lunch. Sucks to be you. You gotta watch it at 10 p.m.
Well, like, after that you can watch it
exactly, because I mean it is the perfect size. Because like I'm glad it's only 55 minutes, because like it's the perfect perfect for lunch. Like
exactly,
it's the perfect size. It's a nice eatable, edible, edible. I don't
know.
Snackable. It's a snackable size. Exactly.
Yes.
Greg, where can people find you social media wise, or find some of your other works?
Well, you can. I'm on Twitter. It's I'm at Greg _Franklin. And I'm on Instagram, which is Greg_Franklin_.
Nice.
Which is where I can be found. And, a lot of my work is up on 6pointharness.com, including my favorite project ever, which is my Doritos Locos Tacos commercial. Obviously it's great to work with your heroes, so
okay. So when I moved back from California to Oklahoma again, I was telling some of my my friends at my new job, they were like, oh, I was like, yeah, there's fantastic Mexican food places all across California. And they were like, really? Like, well, what are some good ones? And I'm like, there's this really cool place called like Taco Bell. And it is so good. Like, and they were with me for a while, like, and then too long of a while. It's like, yeah, this Taco Bell place. It's like Mexican, and then like it's like I used a bit from Ideal Home, because like I don't think anybody had seen them. It's like Mexican jazz. It's so good.
Oh my God! And yes, it is.
I was like, it's amazing.
Insides.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, cool. Can you spell it? And I was like, yeah, Taco Bell. They were like, oh, you saw. I was like, oh, I gave it to you. Man, and we'll put the links for everything in the show notes. If you want to follow Greg, you can do that. 6-Point Harness and the special will all be in the show notes. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh L. Cain. You can find the podcast on Instagram at What's Up Fandom, on Twitter at What's Up Fandom PC for podcasts. All of our episodes available: iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, Spotify. You can check our video content out on YouTube. Basically, anywhere that you can download a podcast, we're there. You can also check us out. We've got like the Twitch gaming thing, also at just What's Up Fandom. We're What's Up Fandom across the board, so it should be easy to find us. Thanks to 1 Outta 10 for the intro and outro for this episode. And guys, thank you all so much for listening. And Greg, again, thanks so much for coming on and talking about this awesome special with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so for What's Up Fandom, I'm Josh. I'm Greg.
I'm Greg.
Bye, everybody. Such a